Many years ago, high up in the mountains of Nepal, there lived a young man named Toma. He lived in a small village with his family and friends. They were poor but happy, living simple lives. However, their lives weren't easy. Every year during monsoon season, they faced horrible storms and many crops would get destroyed. That's why Toma's father spent most of his time away from home. He had to work as a porter, carrying heavy loads on his back to earn some money. On the other side of their village, there was an enormous mountain. The locals called it the Impossible. Many climbers had tried to reach its summit, but all of them failed. Some got injured, others turned back, but none had ever come back with a different answer. That's why Toma's father forbade him from going there. "It's too dangerous," he said. "Many great climbers have tried, but they couldn't do it. We don't want our son to be next." But Toma didn't feel scared. Instead, he felt curious. "Why is it so dangerous?" he asked. "And why nobody could climb it?" His father shrugged his shoulders. "I don't know, son. Everyone says it can't be done. So it's best we stay away from it." Toma nodded, pretending to be convinced, but deep down he wanted to prove everyone wrong. As soon as he turned 16, Toma decided to climb the mountain. He prepared some food, grabbed a bottle of water, and told his family he was going to spend the day at the river. Then he walked away, heading towards the mountain. Toma knew his family wouldn't support him, so he didn't tell them anything. If they knew his plan, they would stop him no matter what. He started walking up the mountain, and soon he reached the forest line. "Now the real journey begins," he thought. He continued walking, but it wasn't as easy as he thought it would be. The higher he went, the stronger the wind became. Soon he couldn't even stand straight because of the wind. Toma sat down to take a break, but then the sky cleared up and the wind disappeared. He looked around and realized that a terrible storm had begun. Rain was falling in buckets. He pulled out his bottle of water, but he didn't drink it. He knew that drinking cold water would make him even colder. Toma kept moving forward until he reached a cave. It was small but dry, so he decided to hide there until the storm passed. However, when he entered the cave, he realized that it wasn't empty. There was a big spider in the corner, staring at him. Toma was afraid of spiders, but he couldn't go back outside because of the storm. He stayed in the cave all night long, hugging his knees and trying to sleep. In the morning, the storm was still going on. When Toma left the cave, he noticed that his shoes were completely soaked. "If I continue like this, my feet will get hurt," he thought. He took off his shoes and socks and tied his socks around his ankles to keep his feet dry. Then he put his shoes back on and continued his journey. After a few hours, Toma fell. He slipped on a wet rock and twisted his ankle. Pain shot through his body. He tried to stand up, but he couldn't. "What should I do?" he thought. He knew that if he stayed there, he would freeze. So he forced himself to move. "It hurts," he said. With each step, the pain got worse, but he didn't care. His only goal was to survive. When the sun began to set, Toma found another cave and spent the night inside. In the morning, he woke up and checked his ankle. It was swollen and bruised, but he could still walk. "I need to keep moving," he said. It was the first time he spoke out loud in 2 days. The weather was still bad, but now it was snowing. Huge white flakes covered the ground, and soon Toma couldn't see where he was going. "How am I supposed to climb in this weather?" he thought. He wanted to turn back, but his family would worry about him. And he knew that if he came back without news, they would never let him go again. Toma struggled to keep going. He stumbled from one snowdrift to another, and soon his body began to tremble. "I'm freezing," he said. Just when he thought he couldn't go any further, he saw a hut in the distance. He struggled to reach it, but when he knocked on the door, no one answered. It was empty. Toma went inside to warm up. He took off his backpack and sat down next to the fireplace. "Maybe I can spend the night here," he thought. Suddenly, he heard some footsteps outside. He hid in the corner, hoping the person wouldn't notice him. A moment later, a woman entered the hut. She looked at Toma and screamed, "Who are you? How did you get here?" Toma explained everything. "I'm sorry, but this hut is abandoned." "You can't stay here," she said. Toma nodded, understanding her point. He thanked her for her help and stepped outside. He wanted to give up, but then he remembered his dream. He wanted to prove everyone wrong. He wanted to show them that they were wrong. Thinking of all the times he had been mocked, anger filled Toma. He took a deep breath and started climbing again. From that moment on, Toma didn't think about anything else but reaching the top. He didn't care about the pain, the cold, or the hunger. Now his only goal was to finish what he started. After 2 more days of struggling, Toma finally reached the summit. He was alone, exhausted and freezing. Toma sat down on a rock and closed his eyes. For a moment, no one knew about Toma's success. The wind and the snow kept him company at the top of the world. When Toma opened his eyes, he noticed a cloudless sky above him. The sun was shining brightly, and a rainbow arched across the horizon. Toma smiled. Even though he was freezing and exhausted, he was on top of the world. "I did it," he whispered. A few hours later, Toma returned to the village. People were shocked to see him alive. "How are you alive?" "We thought you were dead," one of them said. Toma explained how he climbed the mountain and proved everyone wrong. His story inspired many of the villagers, and they asked him to share it with everyone. Toma agreed. He traveled around the world, telling people about his adventure. Wherever he went, people listened to his story with awe. One day, Toma returned to his village. He stood in the middle of the village and said, "I want to tell you something." Everyone gathered around him, waiting for him to speak. "All my life, people told me that I couldn't climb the mountain. They said it was impossible, but I wanted to prove them wrong. However, now I know that it wasn't about proving them wrong. It was about proving myself right. I wanted to show myself that I could do it. And when you believe in yourself, anything is possible." The people were silent for a moment. Then someone asked, "But what if no one believes in us? What if they say we can't do it?" Toma smiled. "That's easy. You just have to show them that they were wrong. It's not about being strong or skilled. It's all about believing in yourself and taking one more step. All of us have our own impossible mountain to climb. It can be a difficult challenge or a big dream. But the truth is that it's never impossible until you try. It might be hard, but it will always be harder to never try." Everyone nodded, realizing the truth in his words. They had let society and their fears hold them back for far too long. But now they knew that they had the power to change their lives. All they needed was a little courage and belief in themselves. We often let our fears and doubts hold us back, but we must remember that nothing is impossible if we truly believe in ourselves. Toma's story teaches us that we should never give up on our dreams, no matter how difficult they may seem. With enough determination and perseverance, we can achieve anything we set our minds to.